Hello, this is Awaken to Truth channel. I am Michael Smith. Thank you for taking the time to stop by today and check out this video. Before we get into it, like always, if you have not subscribed, I'd appreciate it if you would hit that subscribe button and also hit the bell if you know how to do that. I think most of you probably do. If you hit that bell, you will be alerted every time I upload a new video. Also would appreciate it very much if you would give this video a thumbs up. All right, today we're going to take a look at the Disney controversy that's going on, and I have my sister Michelle here. We actually just did a similar video on her entertainment channel, Force of Light, and we're going to approach it from a little bit more of a spiritual standpoint on this channel. But Michelle, thanks for being here today.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
So if you have not heard, I'm sure most of you probably have, but Disney has come under fire here recently because the agenda to, I will say, some people would probably try to spin this a different direction. I would say clearly indoctrinate children in a particular direction as far as it concerns sexual orientation. I think it's been clear that that agenda has been there, but it's been kind of unsaid. Well, now they're just taking the quiet part and they're just broadcasting it everywhere, and they're saying it out loud that they absolutely have an agenda to push a sexual ideology and a sexual orientation through their children's films and shows and characters. And Michelle, you keep up, since your channel is entertainment oriented, you keep up with this stuff more than I do. But did they say that they're going to be making characters transsexual and bisexual and homosexual? What did they say exactly?
So this first started with the Florida bill, and Disney made a comment about that. And then because of that, they put back, I guess, a LGBTQ plus character in the new Buzz Lightyear movie, which of course is geared towards children. So that was announced, and then
which letter is this character? Is it an L? Is it a B? Is it a G? Is it a Q? Is it an X?
We don't know. What is it? You gotta go see it to find out, I guess.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad that is now the suspense of Disney movies is, what letter character, are we going to find?
Yes. And anyway, so that happened. And then last week they were having, I think it was for maybe their shareholders. I don't know. Maybe it wasn't shareholders, but they were discussing, different people that are heads in Disney were discussing what they wanted to do. And they got backlash after the first one, and then they doubled down and there was a second one. But anyways, one of the women that's in charge there, she talked about how one of her kids is trans and another one is another part of that community, and how she realized that they didn't have enough lead characters that are in a part of that community, and how they want to have 50% of their characters be a part of that community or diversity, which is just flat out not reflective of society in general, in large, even if it was adults. But especially, I think the word that gets used now, grooming children, people just began to get mad at the fact that Disney, as you said, kind of the hidden agenda is now in your face. And then also last week, this is not totally done, but Disney has begun to discuss, will they remove the title princess and prince from the Disney castle? Yeah. So that's kind of what's happened in the last 2 weeks with Disney, and they're getting a lot of backlash, and rightfully so.
Yeah, because WAPO, the Washington Post, they recently had a headline about pregnant people.
Yes. Yeah.
Not pregnant women, because men cannot get pregnant people. And so, this woke ideology through big corporate America just continues. And I think that, first off, that's a horrendous idea, to take less than 0.5% of the population and make it a 50% representation in your characters. That's insane. I mean, that doesn't even make sense. And I actually saw the video of the woman giving about her children and this, that, and there. Well, here's the thing. when you're always focused on sexual orientation and you're always talking about sexual orientation and you have a strange obsession with sexual orientation, your children are going to pick up on that and they're going to start to fixate on sexual orientation. And so you're going to produce more children that say that they're, whatever. Children are extremely impressionable. And that really is the wickedness of all of this, is that you are purposefully saying, I am going to imprint this impressionable child with a very adult conversation, and we're going to use child entertainment in order to do that. It's sick. It's demonic, and we're dealing with demons here. We're not dealing with just corporate America. Not all of these people, but many of them are highly, to come up with these ideas. They're highly demonically influenced at best. And some of them, I believe, are probably demonically possessed. And some of you watching, you might have a hard time with that. You might say, this is taking a little bit far. No, when you want to destroy children at the youngest possible age, you are at best demonically influenced, and at worst, you may very well be demonically possessed to have such dark and depraved desires in your heart.
Absolutely. And especially, of course, Hollywood's agenda for the last 20 years has just been promoting these things in adult films or TV shows kind of subtly. And then it became less subtle. And then now, my gosh, it's to children. And this has to be, it's like children, some of the ages they're talking about, these kids are still in the stage of boys and girls have cooties. Ooh, like that's natural child progression. Like kids are not thinking about their sexual orientation or, before hormones have hit and things like that. They're not thinking about these adult things. And Disney wants to force them, as you said, on very impressionable kids. And then kids, and it confuses them. Am I a girl who thinks I'm a boy? All these different things that kids it's like, let kids be kids. To try to disrupt and ruin the innocence of children is wicked.
And Disney obviously thinks that they have such a monopoly on fun and on entertainment and on things that middle America wants to do that, might as well just do whatever we want because we own them. They're going to come to us no matter what. They want our stuff. They have to have our vacations. And here's the sick thing. Why would somebody drive from the Midwest, from the Northeast, or from somewhere in the Southeast? Why would they drive all the way down to Orlando, pay the hundreds of dollars it's going to pay? Quite frankly, most of them go in the summer, which is a miserable time in Florida and especially in Orlando. They bake in the sun. It's not really that fun, to be honest with you. Why do they do it? They do it because we want to see the smiles and the joy on the face of our children. And so Disney is taking that leverage and saying, because you love your children so much and you want them to have this experience, we're going to abuse that and we're going to indoctrinate your children, whether you like it or not.
Absolutely. And I just had the thought, it's like, shout out, it's like for people in the South or in the Midwest, why not take your children to Dollywood, where they're not going to try to force them into this type stuff? If you want a theme park, there are other alternatives, is what I'm trying to say.
You've got Dollywood, you've got Kings Island in Cincinnati.
Kings Island, yes.
You've got Six Flags in Atlanta. You've got Cedar Point up in Sandusky. You've got other alternatives. I know it's not Disney. None of those are Disney, but
they have fun things for kids to do.
Yeah. And so, I shared this on your channel, but just a few weeks ago, we were in Orlando and we were there anyway. And so I thought, well, let's go, see the new Star Wars stuff, because I really wanted the kids to be able to do the Star Wars rides and everything like that. So I said, hey, let's go. We're here. Let's pay the $600 or so, get in the park, spend the day, have fun. Everybody will like it, whatever. Well, it ended up not working out because now they have limits. When I was a kid, like you could drive from across the country and just show up and buy tickets at the gate. not anymore. Now there's limits to who they let in the park. And so we couldn't get in because we didn't have tickets that day. So my thought was, well, let's go ahead and just plan another day, because currently right now we only live about an hour and 20 minutes from the parks. And I don't foresee that we're going to live here that much longer. So I wanted to take advantage of it while we were here. But now that they've done this, I'm not going to go over and spend that money. So I believe that not only is it an evil moral and spiritual proposition, I believe it is going to have impacts in Disney's bottom line. Will that be 3% gross revenue? Will it be 2% gross revenue? Could it be 5 or 7 or 8 or 9% gross revenue? I don't know. We'll see. But I believe that maybe it'll be more than that. I believe that there's going to be a significant backlash from mothers specifically and fathers as well, that they're going to stay home from the Disney movies. They're not going to spend the thousands of dollars to go to the park. They're not going to buy the action figures and the toys. They're just going to back away and do other things. And as far as I go personally, Disney is going to have to reverse course and say, I wouldn't expect them to say we're wrong, but they're going to have to at least reverse course before I'm going to come back. And I will be very sparing in any money that I give over to Disney at this point in the game. But let's look real quick at the protest that's going on. I'll go ahead and get that keyed up for you. It's just a short little clip. They're outside the gates there in California protesting. Did you have something you were about to say?
Well, I was going to say, let's give this too. So 2 weeks ago, they had their big protest of the Florida bill, and one person showed up to Orlando to protest the Florida bill.
Yeah, and so I don't, I live in Florida. I moved here from Ohio, so obviously I know more about those two states than most other states. But Ohio has a similar bill to Florida's in the that's working its way to the governor now. So I don't know if other states are doing the same, but
I have a feeling it will.
Yeah, this is going to be something that you're probably going to see many states move towards. And they'll say it's the don't say gay bill. That's not it. Some people will say grooming, and then they'll want to take exception with grooming. That's semantics. The bottom line is they're just trying to keep young kids from getting indoctrinated by the state or by some psychopathic teacher of some type of sexual orientation and nature to elementary school kids. It doesn't matter.
Just to the third grade, I think.
Yeah, just to the
third grade, which is that old.
Which isn't even far enough for me. It needs to go farther than that. This should never be in public education of any kind.
Yeah.
Beyond that, they're old enough to begin to process things better. But yeah, the male brain, this is just kind of the male brain doesn't even really fully develop till about 20 or 21 years old.
Well, yeah, I think now they say more like 25 to 30.
Yeah.
I mean, as far as even male and female, your brain being fully developed.
Yeah. The female brain, develops a little faster, and girls tend to be more mature at younger ages and things. But you're trying to indoctrinate kids that absolutely cannot process what it is that you're trying to give them. And however they do process it is not going to be healthy. And so that's what the Florida bill and now the Ohio bill, and I would say many other bills to come, are trying to curtail. And so here is just a little clip of the protest that was taking place.
It was yesterday
in California. So let me start here. It's just a quick little clip. You see them out there in front of the gates. I can't really tell how many people are there. Did you hear how many people came?
I did not, but I've seen other videos. It was a decent sized crowd.
Yeah, I mean, it's a decent sized crowd, and it takes some commitment to get out and to do that. So
boycott Disney! Boycott Disney! Boycott Disney! Boycott Disney! Boycott Disney! Boycott Disney! Boycott Disney!
So there you go. So that, there they are protesting. And I believe that more and more of this is going to happen because the radical left, as I will call them, I don't call them Democrats. I call them the radical Marxist, cultural, destroying left. They are awakening, I believe, a bit of a sleeping giant. They are awakening center-right activists that up to this point have completely stayed out of the fray. They've minded their business. They've done their thing. And they're awakening that people on the, center and right are, and even people a little left of center, it's like it's a pretty large swath of people that are in opposition to this type of thing and in support of the common sense solution to this. And I believe they're awakening that giant. And I believe that they are going to be surprised at how much pushback they get. I think that America is both on the verge of reaping the wages of all of the unrighteousness that we have sown, but I believe we are also on the verge of many people beginning to wake up to the severity of the situation, to the severity of the moral decline in this country, and saying enough is enough. Because it's like we have been bombarded with so many horrendous things, and the morality of this country has become so ridiculous that people just kind of go, well, whatever. But when you go after the children, as the school boards in this country found out this fall, when you go after the children, you awaken a powerful force that I think they have underestimated, and that is the mothers of America.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and I know I said this on my video. I don't think I said it here. Just kind of to your point of even middle. I know for, say, the Florida bill, I recently saw a poll, take a poll with a grain of salt, I guess, but it was like 57, 58%. So almost 60% of Democrat voters in Florida were fine with the bill. They did not have a problem with it.
So you've got literally the radical left is the only part of America that supports this. You've got the radical element of the Democratic Party, which has been the driving proponent of the Democratic Party. And I know they make accusations, well, it's the radical right that's been driving the Republican Party. I don't think that's the case, but I don't want to get into that. I mean, I understand there is a radical right, but I don't think that is actually what's been driving the Republican movement. I think by and large in recent years, common sense and a rejection of insanity has been driving the Republican movement. And that's a big tent. There's a lot of people that want to be in that tent, and not all of those people agree on every single thing.
Yes. And I think the bottom line too, if people don't begin to stand up, which I think they are beginning to awaken to and stand up, but if they don't, they just keep going. That's what we've learned through all this. When you just keep being like, well, I'll give them this, we won't say anything, then they just keep adding to the insanity. And a positive too is it's kind of like, if your viewers probably may not have seen the two videos that I referred to at the beginning of those two Disney executives talking about their plans to put in to children's movies these type of characters. And it's almost as if God is like causing people to say out loud things that the enemy's usually smart enough to keep hidden. Like, it's almost like, here's our plan. Like, here's how we're going to come after your children, guys. Here it is. And at that point, it's kind of up for parents to be like, oh, okay. And decide to do whatever you want to do as far as ensuring your children aren't being groomed and or whatever word you want to use there.
Well, I think that, we don't know. The devil is kind of an enigmatic character and force. We all know that evil exists, but like the devil, but one thing that we do know from Scripture is that there's a great deal of arrogance and pride with Lucifer and with the kingdom of darkness. And there's times that arrogance and that pride just can't help but to just come out and just say, this is what I'm doing. Yeah. This is what I'm doing. And I believe it's an overplaying of the hand. The pride comes before the fall. And I think that that is the case, that while there has been, it's now clear there's a radical realignment for destruction of this country, of the children of this country, of the youth of this country, of the systems of this country, of the good things that there are about this country. But in the midst of that, it may be possible. I still have optimism that there can also be a radical realignment of righteousness to rise up against that wicked plan and that wicked plot.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree.
And so that's really it. You know, we've gone for a while about this, but that's it. Be praying for this country. Be praying for awakening in this country. Be praying that people would keep their listening ears on. And, you know, the information is incredible in the sense that we are bombarded with so much information every day. But here's what you have to do. You have to pick one or two things that you're passionate about. You have to pick one or two, or you can't pick 86 different causes because there's so much out there. You have to pick one or two of these causes that you're passionate about. And you have to focus on being a difference maker in that area, whatever it may be. Maybe it's, you know, going to the school boards. Maybe it's standing up to Disney in the form of just withdrawing your support. Maybe it's something else altogether different, but pick that thing. Don't sit stagnant anymore. Begin to become active both in the kingdom of God and in the things that we're dealing with in this present age, and begin to become a difference maker and be a force for good, and let your voice be heard. So thank you for taking the time to watch this video. Appreciate it. And I'll be back with another video very soon. God bless.